Hello, my name is Dani. I'm an art instructor and you're tuned in to the Able Artswork virtual learning channel. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm going to show you how to draw a cube and apply a texture to it. So grab a pencil and some paper and we're going to get started. So a cube is made up of 6 squares that are attached to each other. And to draw the top of the cube, we're going to draw a flattened square. So it's going to look like a flat diamond almost. Once we do that, we're going to draw lines extending down from the 3 visible points. 1, 2, 3. The longest line is in the center because to the viewer, this side is the closest. We're then going to connect these points using 2 lines. 1, 2. So next, we're going to draw a little square above our shape. And this is going to be a way for us to take a little note about what our texture is going to look like. So I think that a texture that's good to practice with is scales. And scales are just these wave-shaped lines like you would see on a fish. So we're going to draw these loops starting at the top of the square and going all the way across. And we're going to repeat that until we fill the square. This is what our texture is going to look like. Okay, so we're going to look at the top of the square. We're going to call this line the anchor point because our scales are almost like growing downwards. So we're going to look to this as a point of reference each time we add the texture to a new face of the square. So let's start with this face. We're going to look at the top of the square because that is our anchor point in reference to this little square we've made. So when we did our scales, we made sure that the base of each scale was touching that line. So we're going to do the same thing following along this line. It'll just be at a bit of an angle. We can even make the scales swoop out a bit to the side to make it look like they're coming off the shape a bit. And we're going to repeat this pattern all the way down the face of the square. Great job! So let's move on to another face of the square. We can move on to the face right next to this one. So if we're looking for our anchor point, it's still going to be at the top of the face. So let's follow this line the same way that we did on this face. I'm having the scales swoop out a bit just to show that they are growing in a different direction from this face. And we're just going to go all the way down the face of the square, just like we did before. Awesome. Now for the top of the square, we could really use any of these lines as our anchor point. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this one. So we're going to grow our scales from this point, and we're just going to go all the way across the top of the square, just like we had done with the other faces. And I'm having them swoop up a bit, just to show that they're almost peeling or growing upwards, just like how the scales on the other faces were growing off the face. Great. So that's how you add a texture to a cube.